I don't know. Louise and we had been tipped off, actually, about 2 days early that the debate was going to run 3 hours. Apparently, the campaigns didn't know that, which surprised me. But wow, I'm really glad that we only had one bottle of wine in the house. Louise and I split it last night, but had we done a drinking game, every time somebody mentions Reagan, for example, man, I would have been flat out. And I'd love to get your thoughts on what you heard last night if you watched the debates or listened to the debates. What I thought was most interesting was what didn't get discussed, and it wasn't just interesting because it's what didn't get discussed by the Republicans on the stage, but it's also the things that apparently the CNN moderators knew were issues toxic to Republicans, and so they chose not to bring them up so as not to embarrass the Republicans, which I can virtually guarantee you will not be the case in a Democratic debate. But I didn't hear any discussion at all about breaking up big banks or doing something about Wall Street, which in the last 15 years has done mind-boggling damage to our economy, to the world economy, and to the American economy. Millions of Americans' lives destroyed by criminal activities of banksters in the United States, and there was no discussion of that last night. Donald Trump at one point actually called, not last night, but in the past has called for raising taxes on Wall Street, on the hedge fund guys. And a slight note of sanity, of occasional sanity, but it was not discussed last night. In fact, that would have even been a great hook to bring it up and push it in the face of the other people working there. There was no discussion of our trade policies. TPP wasn't discussed. Donald Trump's proposal of a 35% import tariff on cars made in Mexico was never discussed. There was no discussion of the very policies that are destroying the middle class. I thought it was fascinating that everybody wanted to blame all the problems of the economy on Barack Obama, the guy who, when he came into office, the economy was hemorrhaging 800,000 jobs a month as a consequence of Reaganism and George W. Bushism. And somehow any problem with the economy is Obama's fault. It was hysterical. I didn't hear a discussion about debt-free college. I didn't hear a discussion about resolving the $1.4 trillion crisis of student loan debt in the United States. I did not hear a discussion about our crumbling infrastructure, which is, not only an international embarrassment, as, again, Donald Trump has pointed out, our airports are like, something out of third world countries compared to the rest of the modern world. Why? Because we haven't spent money on infrastructure since the Reagan administration. We basically stopped. I heard no discussion of that. I heard no discussion of expanding Social Security, or even doing something about how the Republicans in the House of Representatives have set up this 20% cut in Social Security disability payments to people on SSDI starting right around the time of the next election, November of next year. No discussion of that. No discussion of campaign finance reform. No discussion of the Koch brothers putting $1 billion. How many fewer than 200 people have put in the vast majority of all the money in this election cycle? No discussion of that. No discussion of raising wages, or at least no consequential discussion. And like I said, I think the most amazing thing about that is I'm not surprised that when you get a bunch of Republicans together, they don't want to discuss things like their plans to voucherize Medicare or privatize Social Security or voucherize our school systems, our public school systems, or privatize our roads and our power systems, or continue subsidies for the oil industry. It doesn't surprise me that none of those things would even be discussed by Republicans. But when you've got two reporters, I mean, Hugh Hewitt is he's a right-wing partisan, so you exempt him from that mix. But Dana Bash and Jake Tapper are theoretically reporters. And you would think that they would have asked those questions. I mean, wouldn't you? These are things that are like at the top of the minds of Americans. These are the issues that Americans actually care about. But, they obviously understood, hey, don't embarrass the Republicans by bringing up topics that they don't want to talk about. Because the Republicans, they will be very happy to talk about abortion, or they'll be very happy to talk about what? How we need more wars?